Surely the presence of God is in this place. Susan, you, you, you. You may not know this, but she's attracted me here. And that's a story that I'm willing to share with you. But do you feel that energy? That's God dancing here. So why don't we tap into that energy as we meditate? So if you're willing, allow your feet to be planted on the ground. Allow Mother Earth to just ground you as we do some energy work. We allow the opening of our heart, the opening of our mind. We invite the allness of the universe to be present now. We allow that energy to come in, white, gold, light, bright, blessing us. Opening our chakras, coming in through the crown, all that vision and wisdom opening up in new ways, coming into the throat so that we can share what is ours to share in love and light, moving down to the heart where it's cracked open anew, to love in a way we've never loved before, and moving down into the embodiment, into us birthing anew. We've said we're ready for this. So I invite you to open. Again. Open and allow. Allow the divine to connect with your divinity, to remind you of the truth of who you are, divinely human, here for a purpose, here to create peace, harmony, love in the world, here to make this world a better place. If you're having thoughts, that's all right. Watch those thoughts go by. If you're having what is she talking about? That's all right. Let it go by. And be here now. We are talking to your soul. And your soul has 2 questions to answer today in this meditation. And I invite you to go into the silence to answer these questions. And it's a yes or a no. Are you ready to evolve your consciousness? If there's sentences happening, your mind is still, engage, drop down deeper. Yes or no? Are you ready to evolve in consciousness? Yes or no? Second question. Are you ready to answer your divine call? Yes or no? At the sound of my voice, take a moment in thanksgiving for the answers that you received, that you heard. This is an auspicious time. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Bring your awareness back to where your butt is on the seat. Feel your feet on Mother Earth. You may want to stretch a little bit. Open your eyes, and I see you. So, there's this favorite comedian of mine who said, after the pandemic, I'm not sure how I'm going to be in front of people again, live. Either I'm going to bomb or I'm going to be brilliant. I'm hoping for brilliant, so hold that knowing with me, please. And the question that we have today is, are you ready to answer the question? Are you brave enough to be accountable for your consciousness? Are you brave enough to be accountable for your consciousness? This past year has been a really powerful year. Wow, we've seen so many people who have to deal with immense change and even loss. For a few, there have been moments of blessings and awakenings. Those who were able to stay strong and centered gave themselves permission to feel all the feelings that were the upheaval of 2020. Feelings such as fear, confusion, and even hope. Hope as they navigated the unknown and still adjusting to a new way of being. Wow, it's been a year. So I'm going to tell you, one of my favorite stories is The Wizard of Oz. I'm a Dorothy girl. I've got some paraphernalia at home. I'm not going to really get into detail right now. But I love that story. And I think I love it because of the many layers and meanings and lessons to be understood. So I want you to remember back to the scene where Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion had arrived at the Emerald City, and they were going to see the wizard. But this was not the first time of their arrival. This was the second time. This was after they had faced the terror of dealing with the evil witch. And they even had the broom to prove their accomplishment. And now finally, they had arrived to see the great and powerful Oz. Got to do it in that voice, right? The great and powerful Oz, who made promises to them if they were able to vanquish the Wicked Witch. Dorothy had dreams of getting back home to her family. The Scarecrow was looking forward to having a brain so he could think. The Tin Man excited about getting a heart so he can love. And the Lion was looking for that courage to finally be that brave king of the jungle. And yet, when they take that witch's broom and they laid it in front of the Wizard of Oz, he refuses their request. He even has the audacity to say, hey, come back tomorrow. Let's talk about it then. They were flabbergasted. No way. And then the wizard tries to intimidate them to leave, right, by showing his power of immense power. Well, Toto, my favorite, Dorothy's beloved little dog had enough. So what does he do? Runs over to where the wizard is, using a microphone and special effects to have this great illusion of power. And he just kind of takes the curtain, right? Moves it back. And what does he reveal? that the great and powerful Oz is merely a man. Merely a man. And Dorothy is just bringing him onto the carpet, saying that behavior is not acceptable, and she says to him, "You are a very bad man." To which the wizard replies, "Oh no, my dear, I'm a very good man, just a very bad wizard." Go figure, right? So why do I tell you this story? I tell you this story because it's really a wonderful analogy for what we've been dealing with over the past year, right? Just as we push the curtain to reveal the Wizard of Oz for who he really was, right? It's exposing this pretense of omnipotence power to expose the truth. The truth is that he was invested in keeping up the appearance of the illusion of power. Did I get him? All right. So 2020 is calling us to lift the veil on the imbalance of society. The imbalance of society, the unjust economic systems, the broken healthcare system, the damaging caste system that still exists today. Oh my gosh. And across the country, people got to the streets, pandemic or no pandemic. They got on the streets, they marched to bring those hidden horrors to the light. Bring those hidden horrors to the light. And we were forced to then acknowledge that we have a lot of shadows hidden within the human psyche that really need to be called up to be healed. And so for me, I see 2020 as the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening. Now, before you start to throw anything, let me just preface that with let's go a little deeper there, all right? So I'm going to look at a sacred text. I'm going to look at the New Testament. I'm going to look at Matthew. Now, here's the thing. The book of Matthew happens towards the end of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And what do we know about that? That sermon is known as Jesus' instructions to us on how to be the Christ in the world. And it's towards the end in chapter 7 that he's talking about the kingdom of heaven. And in Matthew chapter 7, verse 21 to 23, and the title is Concerning Self-Deception. Hear that. Not everyone who says to me, "Lord, Lord," will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, "Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many deeds of power in your name?" Then I will declare to them, "I never knew you. Go away from me, you evildoer." That's some powerful words. That's why I like Jesus as a way shower. He's amazing. He doesn't like hem and haw and do the "it's all nice" thing, does he? No. He calls it as he sees it. And what Jesus is saying there is, just because you claim you are the Christ, doesn't mean you are. I heard that, right? Doesn't mean that you are. So you may have the nice words, profess faith and morality, but that doesn't mean that you're going to enter the kingdom of heaven. But here's the thing. The kingdom of heaven is accessible and achievable reality for everyone. Why? Because the kingdom of heaven is within us. It's within you. It's within me. And that means that the Christ consciousness comes from where? Within. It comes from within. I have also another favorite author of mine who is John Sanford. And John Sanford has written this book called The Kingdom Within. And it's a really cool book. And I actually learned about it in seminary, where he looks at Jesus' sayings and parables and then really kind of dovetails it to consciousness. He writes this: The kingdom within requires a morality which is not founded on rules and regulations imposed from the outside, but on self-knowledge. This self-knowledge can be achieved through inner confrontation. And so I believe if 2020 was the Great Awakening, then 2021 calls us to do this confrontational self-knowledge work now. That's where we are now. You see, we can no longer pretend and deny that we have hidden shadows. It's not possible anymore. 2021 is about bringing those hidden things to the surface, allowing God to be in the shadows with us, looking at those aspects that we have labeled not of God, things we don't like, loving those things, and then integrating them into ourselves as wholeness. You know, in Unity, we often tout that it's all God, except for the things we don't like. So how do we do this work? I believe we do this work first by looking at our indoctrinated beliefs. Now, in case you're wondering, what are indoctrinated beliefs? Let me back up a little bit. We are born on this planet. We come in as babies and toddlers and kids, and we are these bright, shiny lights filled with love and unconditional acceptance for everything and everyone. We don't care. Black, white, purple, green, live, not alive, inanimate, animate. We don't mind. It's all love. And then for most of us, our families, they think, you know, if this kid stays this way, they're not going to survive on this planet, right? And so they start talking to us about their beliefs. And so many parents, grandparents, other family members, they believe it is their job to prepare children to be able to navigate the world successfully. And it comes from the intention of really wanting them to thrive. But here's the thing. If your family of origin believes that the world is a hard place, they are going to teach you, be tough, be smart, don't let anyone take advantage of you. Or if your family of origin believes that they are entitled to the good life and the best of everything, then they are going to teach you. Walk in the world as privileged, deserving of whatever you deem important, and making sure no one else gets your limited supply. And if your family of origin is biased or prejudiced, then they are going to teach you that that is the right way to view the world. So hear this. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because whatever your family of origin beliefs are, that's what you're going to believe. They taught you this. How could they teach you anything else? That's all they knew. But here's the good thing. The good thing is that you're not at fault. You have these indoctrinated beliefs. And you don't have to blame or shame your family for teaching you that, because really they did it from their best intentions. And we've always heard that, and I remember thinking, yeah. But no, really, when you look at, this is all they know to do. This is what they were taught. And then that kind of loosens it up, doesn't it? We don't have to look at them, look down on them, or label them bad. And as children, we are these sponges. We just absorb all this information. And then it gets imprinted into our consciousness. And we believe their beliefs are our beliefs. We believe that. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because I want you to be aware that if you're no longer defended in knowing that you have biases, because that's part of the human experience, my friends. If you're alive on planet Earth, you're going to have biases. Then that allows you to breathe and not be guarded and defended and allow those biases to come up to the light. Hello? So you can love them. So you can be with them. So you can have God imbue them and then integrate them. So you're no longer triggered With me? All right, good. But now when these beliefs become conscious, guess what? It's your responsibility now to look at these beliefs. It's your responsibility to say, is this belief even mine? Hello? Is this mine? Or is this somebody else's? Is this belief of God? Is this belief of oneness? And then you can discern, well, if it's not of God and it's not of oneness, then I can release this. And guess what? I could create anew. So I'm going to take one example of a belief that so many of us have, that not good enough, that being not good enough. So let's say we have that. The first thing we do is we do a query. When was the first time I heard that or I knew that? And then who taught me that? You know, maybe I heard it at home, maybe I heard it at schools, maybe it was my mom taught me, my teacher taught me when I didn't get an A on the test, whatever that is. And what you're doing right now is you're starting to deconstruct so that you can construct. Got it? Okay, and then you look at the belief and go, is this belief of God? Is this belief of the divine? Now, in case you're wondering, not good enough is not of the divine. Just in case you're wondering, because I know some people are like, well, no, it's not, because you are more than enough as a divine being of God. So then what we need to do is we need to work this energetically. Energetically. Do you remember the 4th of July, those like sparkler things that used to have? Mine always burned my hands. No matter how long I tried to hold it, I always got that little burn. So for me, that is what I view when I'm working with a belief that I'm working on changing. So my belief looks like that little sparkler. And we have a conversation, my friends, with that belief. We let it know, thank you. Thank you for doing all that you've done to help me survive in the world. I get you are necessary. Maybe you helped me fit in with my family. Maybe you kept me safe. Maybe you kept me feeling secure. But now I'm evolving, I'm awakening, and I no longer need you. I no longer need you. But thank you. And I imbue it with love. You know, our culture is so much about excising things. This is not that talk. This talk is about how do we love what we've intentionally labeled bad. All right? So I love it, and then I envision it being released into the heart of God, the heart of the universe, being loved, being transmuted, allowed back down in through all of my being, because it's been transmuted. It's been transmuted. So now that I've released that in love, notice I'm still integrating it, hasn't gone anywhere, but it's been transmuted. I now get to create a new belief. And this is why we sit in the silence. This is when we connect with the allness of the universe to create something magnificent. Magnificent. And when we create that belief, we then see that energy being imbued with divinity, with love, with allness, integrating our every being. We see it restructuring the neural pathways in our brain so that our thoughts, our feelings, our words, our actions change based on our new knowing. Our new knowing. And that, my friends, is how we create anew. But here's the thing. Each of us, as metaphysicians and spiritual practitioners, are required, did I say that word too strong? Are required to do this work. This is what we're required to do. We are not here to spiritually bypass our thoughts, our feelings, our words, our actions. We are not here to say it's all good when we're coming from a place of insecurity or fear. That's not what we're here for. We cannot change this planet until we change ourselves. That's what's required. We can no longer be comfortable and say, I got mine. You go figure out how to get yours. That's separation. That is not oneness. That is not acceptable any longer. But this is work. It's work releasing the old beliefs, the error beliefs that are not of truth, and creating new beliefs that come from the very heart of God. It's necessary for us as divine humans. It's necessary for the ascension of our planet. This is the work that we're doing. The world cannot transform if we don't transform on an individual level. And then from that individual level, what we do is we transform the collective consciousness. And in that transformation, we are ripping the veil on the illusion of separation and lack. That's not real. And we are saying that is not truth, that will not stand, that is not of God, and we are here finally to live into what our purpose is. My friends, this is how we create heaven on earth. This is the work. So today I'm inviting you. I'm inviting you to be brave. Brave enough to be responsible for creating new beliefs aligned with Source. Brave enough to be responsible for the thoughts that you have, the words that you speak, the actions that you take, and how you show up in the world. That's what I'm inviting you for today. That's the work I want to do. That's the work I want to do with my people. That's what I'm looking for. And if that's not yours to do, say no on that card, baby. Say no. Do you hear me? Because I'm calling you up. And if you say yes, this is the journey we're going on together. So I'm going to invite Audrey to play this clip of Jenna Stanfield. And while it's playing, think about how brave are you going to be and what are you going to do? Blessings.
What would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed would the wind always fill up my sails? How far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave